My name is Jason Hughes, and I'm the Program Manager and Veteran Liaison at the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation. I've been there since February of 2020. Prior to that, I served in the military for 22 years, so when I retired, I went straight into my amazing job at OSPF. So in my role, I serve three demographics. Although I serve all populations, I do focus on three demographics. One being veterans and service members. Being a retired veteran, it makes sense. The second one is the first responder community. And then the third one is the employers. We focus on programs that can help provide resources for a first responder if they're in a mental health crisis or potentially have suicide ideation. Those resources are located on our website. Currently, we have a grant, thanks to the Ohio Department of Public Safety, that runs until December 31st of this year, where we are training first responders to become QPR instructors. We're front-loading all that cost through the grant, so at the conclusion of that training, those first responders will be equipped to have conversations about a first responder who is in a crisis or potentially thinking about suicide. So on our website, we have a lot of amazing free resources, whether it's one-pager, rat cards, or webinars on how to have that conversation with insert demographic during a crisis. One of our most popular downloads from our website is a one-pager called How to Talk to Someone About Suicide. It's roughly 3,200 downloads. It's a very unique document. It navigates like when someone is suicidal, here are some tips on navigating that conversation. And we're smart about it. We update it at least once a year because as time changes, we want to make sure we're changing with them. There's other webinars and videos on that website that they can watch for free to get that, to be equipped with that information. 988 has been great for the state of Ohio and the country in general. So in July, it was the 3-year anniversary. We are seeing that 988 is getting a lot of calls, but we can look at that in two ways. One, people are in a crisis. Two, they're actually trusting the resource. We've been hearing a lot of good things about 988 in the field. Anytime we do a training, we ask who in the room has heard of 988, and 99% of the room says, yes, I've heard of it. The biggest thing we've been trying to educate the community about is you can call 988 on behalf of someone else. It does not have to be the individual in a crisis. You can call on behalf of Frank or Sarah. Please do not buy into the myth that only professionals can save a life when it comes to a mental health crisis. Do we need the professionals? Absolutely. That's why we have subject matter expert. But the research tells us that suicide is the most preventable cause of death. And it simply starts with asking the direct question, are you suicidal? When a family member, close friend, or loved one reaches out to that person, they have that rapport, they have that relationship. So the conversation doesn't feel as formal as when we go to a clinician. So anyone can prevent suicide. If something doesn't seem right, ask the question. We'd rather ask the question and hear the answer and potentially be wrong, and then just assume that this individual is okay. So please ask the question because suicide is the most preventable cause of death. This is a field that we want to make sure that we have empathy for people, regardless of their background, that we never know what people are going through. And so we want to make sure when we ask that question that we're prepared to have the conversation. In other words, we want to think about what we're about to say before we start talking to someone in a crisis. And we also want to consider things like, what is the perception of me as asking the question? What's the cadence of how I talk to them? Am I rushing them to an answer, or am I speaking slowly to make sure you understand what I'm saying is, and have empathy for people, because it's the law of reciprocity. I'm doing for you what I would hope you would do for me. Because at the end of the day, one suicide is one too many.